mystery, political intrigue, werewolf and vampire romance. What more could you want? This book is not what I thought it would be. It's not a bad thing though. I am halfway through. And I finally feel like it's getting to the good part. But also, I realized that the first half of the book has just been world building and plot. And I'm much more of a character driven reader. I am enjoying it though. Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Vampire bride and an alpha werewolf form a dangerous alliance in this enthralling new paranormal romance. Misery Lark, daughter of a powerful vampire councilman, is an outcast. Her days of living anonymously among the humans are over. She has been called upon to uphold an alliance between the vampires and their mortal enemies, the Weres. Weres are ruthless and unpredictable, and their alpha, Lo Moreland, is no exception. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice or feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her. If only he knew how right he was. Misery has her own reasons to agree to this marriage of convenience, reasons that have nothing to do with politics or alliances, and everything to do with the only thing she's ever cared about. She was willing to do whatever it takes to get back with hers. So I'm not sure from the dust jacket if what I read so far aligns with the marketing or the reviews that I've seen of this book. Not really what I expected it to be. Maybe I just expected it to be more trashy paranormal romance. Maybe I just have a different version of what trashy paranormal romance is. I do have a favorite line so far though, which is on page 161. It must be tiresome being a decent person, and I can't relate. I revel in my moral flexibility. This book, of course, is in her point of view, Misery Lark, so it's in first person, which is not a point of view that I usually enjoy. I'm much more of a third person point of view person, unless the author can pull it off really well, which, like my favorite author, Alexis Hall, he does first person extremely well, but they're also more character driven and like really in depth in the characters, so that also is a factor in why I like them so much. And he also has incredible audiobook narrators, and I love the audiobook narrators. Of course, I'm reading this in a physical copy that I got from my local library, but sometimes first person can be really annoying if written poorly, or if the character is annoying, or some combination of both. This book is for sure not insta love, not just vibes, not just characters. I was surprised that this book wasn't as cheesy and over the top as I expected it to be based on the reviews that I watched. It's in first person. Each chapter starts with italics from the perspective of the secondary main character, which is the other half of the love interest in the story. So the werewolf part, first person is in the vampire's point of view. All of them have a little italics from his point of view. This chapter 16 starts. He's been picturing her during her baths. He's been having filthy, unspeakable thoughts. He's too tired to keep them at bay. Now that is about halfway through the book, 206 out of like 392 pages, when it was just starting to get into the romance part of the paranormal romance book. And I was really enjoying it. I've never read any of Ali's books previously, but I found myself enjoying it in ways I didn't think I would, not just for the paranormal werewolf vampire romance that drew me into the book in the first place. This book is labeled as a romantasy, which is romance fantasy, so that means the romance is more prevalent than the fantasy or holds more weight, but in my experience, the first half of the book is more focused on the political intrigue of the werewolves versus vampires versus humans plot that this book centers itself around. And like I said, the romance for me didn't really seem like it kicks off until the second half of the book. And so personally, I would call this more of a slow burn. The romance takes a while, but this book was so good, especially in the second half of the book, that once I got to the good part, I couldn't stop reading. I wanted to know about the romance when it finally started to happen, and then I wanted to have the answers from the mystery plotline that is throughout a book. It's not a mystery like book, it's not labeled mystery, but there's a plotline that you want to find the answer to. And so I stayed up until 1 a.m. to finish this book because there wasn't any like chapter where I was like, oh, I can put it down and pick it up tomorrow. And I was like, no, I have to find out what happens. And so I did. And then I was reading the acknowledgement section, and it made me cry in a good way. She thanks AO3 and the organization for transformative works for her life and sanity. I would acknowledge the same thing in my own life. And it also says, I would not like to thank Ticketmaster for real. Ali Hazelwood is a real one, as it seems. I went into this book knowing absolutely nothing about her personally. I knew she'd written some other books, but nothing paranormal. And so I would like her to write more paranormal books because those are very interesting to me. So I would give Pride by Ali Hazelwood 4 out of 5 stars if we're going by the star system. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and it was different than I thought it was going to be based on some of the reviews that I've seen. So that was interesting as well. And if you like vampire and werewolves and mystery and political intrigue and obviously romance, then you should read this book. This has been my thoughts on Bride by Ali Hazelwood. You should support your local library because that's where I got this book from. I will see you in another video.